Hi there. Now my SC4 lathe comes as standard with a 100mm chuck, and the register on the back is 72mm. Now what I like to do is to put this 125mm chuck on it, but the register on the back is 95mm. Now I know Archeoro Trade do sell an adapter or a backplate to allow this to be fitted to the SC4 lathe, but unfortunately they're out of stock at the moment, so in this video I'm going to have a go at making one. Okay, so I've got this aluminium billet which is 125mm in diameter and about 1 inch thick. So first of all I'm just going to sort of clean up this face here. I'll probably take about 5 thou off. Okay, so I'll keep the billet stationary and I'll just move these clamps around here so I can just finish these bits off here. Okay, so I flipped it round so the machine side is underneath, and it's on these blocks bolted down, and I've roughly found the centre. Now I found this piece of silver steel which is 7/16 of an inch. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to centre drill and then drill and ream to 7/16 so it can accommodate that at some future point in time. That, I think by doing it this way it'll help me centre it up again if I need to, either on the mill or the lathe. My insurance policy. It's a good fit. Now the flange on the lathe has got a register of 72mm, and these bolt holes here on the bolt circle have got a PCD of 84mm. So on the blank I need to drill 3 holes, M8 thread with a PCD of 84mm. Okay, so for the bolt circle, hit the bolt circle function. It's on the XY axis. We're already centered on the center, and the diameter of the bolt circle is 84mm, and the starting angle is going to be right at the top. So that's going to be 90 degrees because the 0 angle is on the right hand side, and the end angle is 360 plus the 90, which is 450. And I've put in 4 holes rather than 3, which means that the first hole will be in the same position as the last hole, if that makes sense. And that's the position of the first hole. So I'll repeat the same process, drilling and tapping an M8 thread for all 3 positions, but I'll do all that off camera. Now I think they call this chuck a front loading chuck because the bolts go through the front. I think you got an option for the back as well, but yeah, you have. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it from the front onto the back plate. So it's 125 millimetre in diameter, so it's got a register of 95 millimetres and a PCD of 108, this whole circle. So while I've got the back plate on the mill and all centred up, I might as well have a go at drilling the whole circle for this as well. So for the bolt circle for the chuck, XY plane, it's on 0, 108 millimetres diameter, and this time I want the starting angle to be 30 degrees, so it's going to come between the 2 holes that I've already drilled and tapped. So my ending angle is going to be 360 plus 30, which is 390. Number of holes is 4, well really it's 3, but 1 and 4 are the same. And what I've done already is I've centre drilled. Well, I've got a bit of a problem now because where I've centre drilled, I can drill right through here, but I can't drill right through on these 2 back ones because of these supports. So I think I'm going to have to call on my insurance policy. So I'll move the table directly underneath the quill, sort of on 0 as the D arrow reads, and then I'll put this in here and put the other end in the collet chuck just to secure it and make sure it don't move, and then I can rearrange these things and get them in a position where I know I can drill right through. But I'll do all that fiddling around off camera. Well, the repositioning worked out okay, I think. So I can just continue now to drill right through and tap in the same way I did the other ones. I've just deburred the threaded holes and just done a test fit. I mean, there's no register on this at the moment, but I'm just making sure that the bolt circle's right, and that looks pretty good to me. So that's all the work that I think needs to be done on the milling machine. So now I need to go over to the lathe and do the rest of the machining. So what I need to do now is to mount this on here with the machined face against that, and I need to cut a recess in here to match this register so it'll fit. Now I'm a bit fortunate really, because I've already got an adapter. I think this was for the mini lathe, so you can put a 100mm chuck on it. So what I can do is I can mount that on there, start cutting the recess, and then I can make sure I can get a decent fit with that. And if I can get a decent fit with that, I know that when I switch it round, I've got a decent fit with that, if that makes sense. So the machined face is up against this spindle register. I've just nipped up the bolts and put this gauge on the inside of the hole that I drilled. So I'll just keep on tapping it with this little hammer until I get it centred. I've spent about half an hour trying to get this right. I can't get it closer than that. It's about a thou out. So I'm going to put the rod in and see what that looks like. So I've made some more adjustments, and this probably doesn't need to be as spot on as when I do machine the other face, because obviously the other face has definitely got to be spot on for a 3-jaw chuck. But anyway, I've made the adjustments and I've put this Mitutoyo gauge on, which measures in a 1/10 of a thou increment, and that looks absolutely spot on. So I'll crack on and start cutting out the recess for the register. So first things first, I'll just face this off. So while I've got this tool on, I might as well tidy up this edge here. Okay, so the recess for the register is going to be around about 72mm in diameter. Now I've put a mark on here which is around about 70. So I'm going to use this boring bar and I'm going to go in 1/10 thou at a time and then pull back the cross slide until I get roughly to that point, and I'm going to 1/10 thou again, pull back until I've got a depth of around about, I think, 3.5 to 4mm, and once I've done that I can then sort of finish the final diameter by taking a slightly different approach. And the carriage is locked as well. So I've gone to a depth of around about 4.3mm because this face here needs to be clear of the face on the spindle. It's this face here that bolts up to the outside edge of the register. So the diameter of the register is currently 70mm, and it needs to go to around about 72 for a good fit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this boring bar again, and I'm going to withdraw the carriage this way by 10 thou or thereabouts, and then I'm going to move in like that and take a cut. Then I'll move back out again, withdraw the carriage again by 10 thou and make another cut. And when I get up close to 72, I'll then take just a few thou off at a time and then see if I can get a good fit with that. But with it being all very tight, I'll do all this off camera and then I'll get back to you. Well, I'm literally taking a thou off at a time until I get a fit. Close. Come on. Hey, that feels good. Perfect. A bit tight actually. I think that'll be okay. Now I just need to countersink these holes a little bit. I got these from Axminster Tools the other week and I'm really impressed with them. Well, I've switched it round and it's certainly a tight fit, so I think it'll need tapping off with a hammer, but I've just put the gauge on and that's absolutely spot on. Not even a tenth of a thou out, so I'm happy with that so far. And this is the face that was done on the mill, so it needs truing up anyway, but that's not even a thou out. So things are looking very positive at the moment. Well, that's disappointing. It's 3.5 thou out. There's that little rod. But I don't think it's important because now I've got the register right. I can face this again on the lathe and I can cut the register. So I'll do the facing off camera and then I'll get back to you regarding the register. I've just had a thought. If the hole is out in the centre, then it means that the threaded holes for the bolts for the chuck are going to be slightly out, but hopefully 3.5 thou ain't going to make any difference. So what I need to do now is to make this register. Now the register needs to be 95mm in diameter, and it starts just beyond that thread there. So what I need to do is to take off sort of like a width of 3.5mm to create a register that sticks out by 3.5mm, if that makes sense. So what I'll do first of all is I'll cut in about 10 thou increments and I'll just go beyond that thread, and I'll go to this, I'll cut it to a width of 3.5mm. Once I've done that, I'll be close to 95, and then I can do exactly what I did previously, just nibble away at it and just check and then take a bit more off until the chuck fits properly. But anyway, that's the plan. Nearly. Just take a wee bit more off. Set the dial on the handle to 0 so I know where I am. And back off. I think I probably need a new cutter on this. Yeah, I think this is better. Okay, so I'll check dimensions, and if it's close I'll try the chuck on. And I'll keep on trying the chuck until I get a good fit. But I'll do all that off camera. Okay, so this is the moment of truth. Nice fit. this bar. Wow. 3 to 4/10 of a thou out. I'm happy with that. Now when I first got this lathe, I put a little mark by one of the bolt holes on the flange on the headstock, and the reason for doing that is when I attach a new component such as a chuck or whatever, I attach it and then just check for runout to make sure, you know, it's reasonable. And for example on this one here, well, you can see that there's a mark there, so I know that when I put this 3-jaw chuck on here, I line it up with that mark. And likewise here, now I've got a decent result in terms of runout. I've put a mark on the adapter plate and also a mark on the chuck. In fact, I'll probably leave the adapter plate on the chuck and I'll just take it off using these bolts here on the flange. And I've checked for runout there. Similar result actually, it's just a little bit more, that's about 5/10 of a thou out, as opposed to on the actual shaft it was probably 4/10 of a thou out. But overall I'm very happy with the results, so jobs are good, I think. Well, that was rather enjoyable, and it's always good when you get a decent result at the end of it. I must admit, I tried making one a few months ago, and it turned out to be a bit of a disaster. I made it out of cast iron, and runout was about 4 or 5 thou. I wasn't happy with it at all. But I dedicated it to this other 125mm chuck. So this is a 4-jaw independent chuck. So it works a treat on there, so no problem at all. I'm really happy with the one I've just made out of aluminium, and I'm sure aluminium will be alright. But anyway, I hope you like the result, I hope you like the video, and I hope to see you later.